Hey guys, I'm going to talk to you all really quickly. It seems the Lord is keeping me in this area, and as far as relationships, emotions, matters of the heart today. And one of the things that the Lord wants me to talk to you all about is some of you are in a cycle where you have a person that when you're loving and you're kind to them, whether it is someone that you have been dating, could be a friend, and it could be family. But guys, I see this more in the area of someone that you may be interested in. But whoever it is in your life who has this characteristic, I'm about to help you out. It's a person where whenever you are treating them right, whenever you are paying them attention, whenever you're seeking them out, they pull away from you. They're hard to reach. They take forever to get back to you. It is very one-sided, but the minute you withdraw and you make up in your mind that, hey, you're just going to move ahead or you're not calling, then they start to call you. Then they start to blow up the phone. Then they're sending you texts, oh, you haven't heard from you. Where are you? What's going on? And when you do turn to them and you start to pay them attention again and you start to reach out and you start to call them, okay, like you used to do, you resume that. They go back to withdrawing. They don't answer your calls. They don't really answer your texts. They don't really get back to you in a timely manner. But again, if you withdraw, if you get closed off, they come back around. They want to know what's going on. Or why are you so quiet? Why I've not heard from you? Or they send you one of those WYD texts, what you doing? Or it's like that, depending on the age of the person. And so you're in this vicious cycle of if you're paying attention to them, they withdraw. If you don't pay attention to them, then they're reaching out. Guys, I want you to know that you're in a toxic cycle. It's a demonic spirit. This is a tormenting spirit. Now, there are all types of terms for it. This person is a narcissist, all this stuff, and these are medical terms. But behind every medical term, there's a spiritual term, okay? Everything is a principality and a power. Everything that you see that demonstrates itself through people, through just anything that is done in the natural, it is the spirit realm is behind it. Ephesians 6:12 tells you your battle is not against flesh and blood. Those battles include emotional battles, all physical battles. Anything you can think of, guys, it's because there are demonic spirits tied behind it. First of all, a lot of times the people that do these things, when you pay them attention, when you're kind to them, when you are being above board with them, they're not used to that. A lot of times you find that these individuals are used to being in relationships with other toxic people. They probably come from a background where they are mistreated, where they are mishandled. That woman that you are treating well, you're giving her respect. A lot of times she may give you a hard time because she's used to being with men who throws drinks in her face. She may be used to men who mistreat her and do her wrong. When you are being nice and being kind to and being above board with a man, sometimes he cannot get with that because he's used to someone who is arguing with him and cursing him out and doing him wrong or being just like him, withdrawn and emotionally unavailable. And so what happens is these spirits are seeking out other spirits like itself, but somehow it's drawn to you. But the only purpose of that spirit with you is to torment you. It is to give you unrest. It's to take away your peace. So that's why when either way, you still end up without peace. When you are giving them love and affection, you're being a good friend, you're being a good partner, whatever it may be, you will find that person a good business partner. You'll find that person, they'll take it because they like it, but at the same time, they will close off from you. Once they've received their fill, they close off from you. Okay? And so when you come to a place where you get to a place where you say, okay, fine, I'm going to move ahead. You don't call, they come looking for you because the spirit behind that person desires to torment you. And then also that person is drawn to what appears to be rejection. or you're not paying attention to them, or you're not calling them. They are used to someone being aloof. They're used to someone being subtle and stealth and beguiling and shady. They're drawn to the shade, guys. They're drawn to the mistreatment. They're drawn to that. But the only way you will find that you'll be able to maintain any sort of quote unquote leverage in this relationship is you have to change your nature. So instead of you being an above board person, instead of you being yourself, you'll find you have to be somewhat of a jerk. You find you have to change your nature, and you have to go to these dark traits of being manipulative, ignoring a person, deliberately closing yourself off to get that person to want to talk to you. You have to be kind of inconsiderate because that's what draws them. But all along, guys, what's happening is your nature is changing, which is the ultimate goal of the enemy. That's the ultimate goal of that spirit that operates through them. Sometimes they may not necessarily know all the spiritual aspects of what they're doing, but guys, the spirit recognizes the spirit in you. The spirit of darkness recognizes the spirit of light in you. Okay, and so they are drawn to the light. Moths will draw to the light. Moths and flies will come to the light. Okay, but guys, it's only just to be a nuisance. There's no purpose. If you ever see a moth that comes in your room, or a fly, or one of those little things you turn the TV on, I've had to open the door, and a fly gets in, and a gnat. They're the most annoying. They just show up, they're all in your face, and you can't never find them. You tear up your whole house trying to kill one of them. Once you let them in, you will destroy, this is perfect. You will destroy everything trying to get rid of that gnat once it gets in. But how do gnats really come up, guys? Let's be real. I think I had some bananas that I left out too long. I took my time, get bananas and stuff to make shakes and things of that nature. And I think I took too long. I think I bought too many. So when you have dead fruit around, what happens? Some little gnats appear somehow. And then once to get in, my goodness, it takes you forever to get rid of that one gnat. And then you trying to kill it, you'll break up your whole house trying to kill that gnat, and everything is destroyed and it's still there. So that's what these relationships are like, guys. They're a nuisance. They are drawn only to toxic behaviors. They're drawn to you only when you are mean, or when you cut them off, or when you're not calling them. They go through this whole process of, oh, I can't believe you're not calling me, and totally acting as if they don't realize that they've been the one that has been sort of withdrawn from you. And when you say that, they kind of overtalk you and act like they don't know what you're talking about. Guys, it is a manipulating spirit. So guys, you have to use wisdom and understanding and discernment in all this to see what the spirit is. Otherwise, you're always going to be in the cycle with them, constantly in a cycle. And then when your personality begins to change, because what happens, you're going to get dark and you're going to get edgy, you're going to get nasty. And so now they're going to capitalize on how you're acting, and they just can't deal with it, when all along they have been, they have been really the headliner of all the negativity in the relationship. And you've been trying to maintain, trying to keep the peace, trying to be a good friend, trying to be a good partner to the person, being a good husband, a good wife, being good to your brother or your sister, whatever it may be, guys. But I see this more in relationships where it's somebody that you might be going out with and dating, and this is their personality, and it could even be a friend. Guys, cut that stuff off. Cut that stuff off. You can try to have that conversation with them, but be led by the Lord. Be led by the Lord in what to do. Because I believe in my spirit that many of you have had this conversation many times over, and you go through the same thing. Why is it that when you're paying attention to them and you're doing normal things, they don't appreciate it? But when you begin to ignore them and you're not being mean, You're just not focused on them. You start moving ahead. That's when they start to dig their claws in. Oh, they want to know what you're doing. Some of you in relationship with a man or a woman that takes you through the cycle, and whenever you make up your mind to move forward, they show up and they have a story and that they're crying and whatever, and it's only just to pull you off of that place where you're getting your feet on solid ground and moving forward, especially when the Lord is telling you to move ahead. And then now they come around, and then you go back to them, and then they may kind of act right for about a week or two, maybe 3 weeks, and then you're back in the same situation again. And now you feel like you're losing it because this is exactly what you said you didn't want to do anymore. And guys, every time you go through that cycle, I'm here to tell you, you go further and further into darkness. Every time you engage in these relationships and you fall into those traps, you go further and further into darkness. You become depressed. You become frustrated. You become angry, and you begin to doubt yourself. You begin to doubt your sanity. And all of this comes from the power of darkness. All of this comes from principalities and powers and the rulers of darkness. The rulers of darkness that is sent to torment you, that is sent to take your peace, that is sent to take you off the path of righteousness, they're sent, my brothers and sisters, to keep you ultimately from doing the things that God has called you to do. So you have to be able to recognize what's before you and take those steps to remove yourself from this toxic cycle. Stop believing their explanations. Stop believing that this time just might be the right time, because that person is sent to do what? To continue to keep you through the cycle till you lose it. And God knows what you will do. And God knows the state of darkness that you will end up in, guys. Do not allow the enemy, your peace, when your peace is taken, when your mind ain't right because it's wandering and you don't know what's next, and you're with this person that they say something, but you want to believe it, but you don't know if you can. And they play mind games and act as if they don't know what happened when you're trying to say your piece, and it's all about, all right, well, let's forget about it, and you forget about it, and then now your heart is in a place to receive again, but it gets wounded. Guys, stop it. It's just like if you have a wound and someone keeps it's healing, and it's that wound and that spot is very sensitive, but someone keeps bumping it. So it pulls the scab and you start to bleed again. And then it starts to heal again, and you bump it again and it pulls it off. And every time you're not getting a chance to really be healed and made whole, because you're with an individual that will easily and without thinking repeat the same offense and play mind games with you. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that I did that. Guys, that is a dark spirit that is sent to torment you. It is a dark, tormenting, wicked spirit. And that person may have received that from wounds in their childhood or whatever it may be, guys, but that is not your area. You do not fix them. You run to God. You get out of that situation. Let God heal you. And God is willing to heal them if they're willing to turn to Him. But a lot of times, these individuals, they're still blind, but also they like to take advantage of other people. So until they reach a place of full repentance and turning to God, guys, there's nothing you can do but turn to Jesus and go to Him and trust Him with all that's left behind, because everything that's left behind doesn't need to be left behind. They can reach up to the Heavenly Father just like you did, and He will do the exact same thing for them in changing them and turning them around just like He did for you. Recognize what you're dealing with, guys. Stop looking at the person. Recognize the spirit and cut it off. Remove that spirit out of your life. Sometimes these are monitoring spirits. They just come around at a certain time. This is the time they have to come and do their part and disappear again. It is darkness. It is not of God. It is not consistent. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So when you're dealing with someone who's double-minded, you're going to find yourself becoming double-minded. So it's like the enemy gets 2 for 1. Don't let that be you, guys. All right? Peace out.